On a cloudy, damp Sunday morning, we left Cumberland, Maryland, and started our week-long trip on the great Allegheny Passage, known as the Gap. This trip will take us to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and back to Cumberland. Last night, we stayed at the Fairfield Inn after driving from Massachusetts. Just about everyone at the hotel was heading either to Pittsburgh or Washington, D.C. on the Gap or the Chesapeake and Ohio Canal Trail. The weather forecast was for rain after lunchtime, and we wanted to get as far as possible to keep from getting too wet. Our destination for the day was the town of Rockwood, about 43 miles from Cumberland. It did not take long to see the first of many bridges, tunnels, and viaducts which are all along the Gap. The first overpass was just over 300 feet long. Right after the bridge, the trail surfaced turned from asphalt to crushed gravel, which was wet from the day before, but it was a nice, smooth surface. One thing that surprised us was the lack of bike tracks on the trail. We expected quite a few more riders out this morning as we were trying to beat the predicted weather. Only a couple of tire sets were in front of us. For the first 15 miles of the Gap, you follow the tracks of the Western Maryland Railroad. These tracks run from Cumberland to the town of Frostburg. The first of many tunnels is the Brush Tunnel. This tunnel is just over 900 feet long and is shared with the railroad. The lighting in this tunnel was pretty good, but I did turn on my lights, which helped. After about 10 miles on the trail, we finally caught up to the couple making the only set of tracks we had seen. They were heading to Myersdale today and were out to beat the rain, which they noted was coming at 1 this afternoon. Once you get through Frostburg on the trail, the tracks are now gone, and you just follow the trail from now on. The second of this morning's tunnel was the Borden Tunnel. Again, this tunnel is about 900 feet long. The lighting in this tunnel was not as good as we were going faster than the automatic lights. Additional lights on your bike were quite helpful. Our next stop was at the Mason and Dixon line. This is the separation between Maryland and Pennsylvania. The Penns and the Calverts had been feuding about their land holdings, so a survey was ordered and established the actual boundaries. The final tunnel for today was the Big Savage. This is the longest tunnel on the trail, measuring 3,294 feet. That's 5/8 of a mile, or 1 kilometer. The lighting in this tunnel is just enough to be able to see, and additional light on my bike was very helpful. The tunnel is closed for the winter with large steel doors to keep the temperature in the tunnel as constant as possible to preserve the lining on the walls. After climbing for just over 23 miles, we finally came up to the Eastern Continental Divide. This is the highest point on the trail at 2,392 feet above sea level. We had climbed from Cumberland at 600 feet to this point in just over 2 hours of riding. From here, it's almost all downhill to Pittsburgh. I had stopped to take some video at the Continental Divide, but I guess I did not say it loud enough for Steve, and he kept going. I was finally able to get my e-bike really working trying to catch up. This downhill stretch felt nice after the 23 miles uphill. We made a quick stop at the parking area in Dio, where we met quite a few riders heading toward Cumberland. The sun came out for a short period of time and felt really nice. Our next large overpass is the Keystone Viaduct at 900 feet long. Note the train passing under us in this viaduct. We would encounter trains just about everywhere on this trip. Just after passing the Keystone Viaduct, we came to the Bowman Bridge. This bridge was moved from another location to serve as access over a roadway for the trail. This 81-foot cast and wrought iron truss bridge is one of the few remaining bridges built by a pioneering builder, Wendell Bowman, and is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. After the viaduct and the Bowman Bridge, we entered the town of Myersdale, which is a very nice railroad station and visitor center with various model trains on display. The caboose is also open for tours. Shortly after leaving Myersdale, we passed over the Salisbury Viaduct. This viaduct is the longest on the trail at just over 1,900 feet long. The viaduct is over 100 feet high and passes over the Castleman River, the railroad, and the highway below. Our stopping point for day one was the town of Rockwood. We stayed at a nice Airbnb owned by the town's chiropractor. The Trailhead Brewery was the only place to get something to eat, as it was Sunday and nothing else was open except for the Dollar General next door. Thank goodness for the taco truck at the brewery. Their beer is quite good as well.